Hey everybody, my name's Mimi Obonswin, and today we're going to explore collage making and how we can empower ourselves through visual art. So thank you so much for joining. For the next half hour-ish, we're going to hang out and make some art together. So just to give you a little background about who I am, I'm a singer-songwriter, but I love crafting and making art, and I love being an artist. So I have lots of music out. I love touring with my band, but when I'm home doing downtime, I love to explore healing and empowering ourselves through art and painting and all that. So today we're going to do a collage, and I brought some examples, so I thought I would show you guys, and then I'll go over maybe some materials that you can have. I know there's a list of materials, but the fun thing about collage is that there's no wrong answers, and you can just make art with what you have around the house or if you found stuff outside. So I'm going to give you the examples, show you the materials that I have, and then we'll just step by step, I'll show you as I'm going what I'm doing, and then you can kind of incorporate what I'm doing into your piece, and you can find your way and you'll find your own groove. So this is the book that I used for the examples that I have. So if you have a book and you have permission to cut into it, you can use pictures and stuff. I love also gardening. So I have this book and I made this collage with it. And if you see, there's a message here. I don't know if it's reversed, but it says dream big. So one of the elements that I'd like to add at the end of our session is an empowering message or an encouraging message. Because if you hang something in your room, you want a reminder of how awesome you are. So that's why I like to incorporate a nice message. So this is just a little house with some butterflies. And then I also like to incorporate marker and just kind of really diving into some creative stuff. So there's an example. This is more of a full collage that we did in another workshop. So it's just a full page, but then we did some drawing on top, and you add different images. So again, from the same plant book. And then this one, so in the list below, if you want to get really creative, you can go outside and find, found objects, so feathers or leaves or that kind of stuff. So this is one where I added a fern. And I was going to get some feathers for today, but I couldn't find any. So if you want to just check that out. Yeah, there you go. So we added the feathers or the fern here. So that's what we're going to be doing. So material-wise, you need a base paper. So it doesn't have to be pink. It could be any color, any size. If you have a piece of cardboard or newspaper, whatever you got, you need a base. And then you'll need some scissors. You'll need some tape or glue. Glue is actually better. If you have a glue stick, way better than tape, but I've got tape. And then I just kind of ran around my house trying to find some things. So I got a marker, lime green, because it's my favorite color. And I went through my recycling and I found this. Yes, I'm a grown-up, but I still like funky Band-Aids. So I thought we could cut this out. I have this from an old festival I played. I found this really cool bag, and it says handmade with love, so I thought we could cut that out. So material-wise, just go look around. If you don't have any craft stuff, you can go through your recycling like I did. I found some really cool wrapping paper that has little mushrooms on it, so I grabbed that just in case. And then I also have my plant book if we need, but my favorite, and I think I'm going to use this the most today, is last time I was up in Webequie, I picked up a calendar from the Northern store, and I just love the pictures in it. So I thought, hey, if you have one of these at home, you can use it for collage. It's lots of nice stuff. And I have another calendar here that I can cut up as well. So just kind of collect your stuff. If you didn't collect materials before, take a minute or two to kind of gather some things right now, and then we're just going to dive right into it. So one thing that I find very important when we create art, whether it's music, dance, sports, anything you do, I think it's really good to just take a moment to set your intentions. So for me, because I create art as my job, but also because it comes from my heart, I want to make sure that I put good intentions, whether I'm giving it to somebody or I'm going to keep it. I want that energy to be in the art piece. So for this piece, I'm going to keep it. So I'm going to put some energy that's really happy, very summery. So when I look at this, I can, remind myself, be happy, be cool, it's all good. So if you want to set your intention and figure out what you want to do with it, it always helps to think about the person if you're going to gift it out as you're creating it. Think happy thoughts. And yeah, that's my little piece on that. Another thing, what's fun about collage is you don't need to plan it out. So I've done collage work before where people are like, I don't know what to start with. I didn't plan it. So what you're going to do is just go with the flow. We're going to cut stuff out. You're going to place it on. You're going to draw around. And you're just going to end up with this awesome piece. It's really fun. So first step is cutting things. So put your base paper aside. And you're just going to cut things out. So I'm just going to go with that. I'm going to try and show you guys what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So this one, I really like that. And that is from Coral Harbor. Great. So I'm going to cut that out. Just going to tilt this over a little bit. I often use old calendars because, we don't always keep them and we throw them out, but they have awesome photography or artwork. I had a calendar made out of cat things because, as you can see, I like cats. And so I used that to do some collages before, which I thought was fun. It was all cats and sweaters, which is fun. So we're just going to cut that out. So you can either follow the shape of the image, or you can get really funky. And if you wanted to cut a heart or a triangle, I like to just cut the images out first and then gather a few things and then kind of figure out what I'm going to do. So we're going to put that one aside. I'm going to cut out my little Band-Aid guy here. I'm going to take this one because he's cute. So if you have a pizza box or freezies or anything like that, you can cut it out and add it to your project. I really love making art with recycled items. So, if you can make shakers out of water bottles with stones in them, or I think we've all done the elastic band on a Kleenex box to make kind of a guitar thing. I love making art with things that people throw away. And then I'm going to grab some of this wrapping paper here. So if you want to see it, just cut this little guy out. And I kept this because I'll probably overlay it like that or something. So now wrapping paper. Even if it's used, it's all good. So I'm just going to cut a chunk out. So I got this. So I'll probably cut that up in a little bit. What else can we get here? Let's look through the calendar again. See if there's anything that matches. Some people really like to do collages with color coordinated things, which is awesome. I'm going to get this little fox here. I just like to kind of run with it and find things that I like. All right, so if I pull up the example again, you can either do something where you do an object, but I'm probably going to do something like this today where it's kind of a mix and match. So as you're cutting, you can kind of plan it out and see what works for you. So I'm going to cut this little guy out here. We'll use that for later. And then I have this performer patch, so I'll keep that if I need. And this paper bag. And it says handmade with love. So I'm going to cut that into a heart shape. Not perfect, but it's perfect. So once you've got all your pieces cut, take your time. There's no rush. I'm going to cruise a little bit because I want to make sure that I have time to explain everything. But once you have all your pieces cut, I might grab some flowers here. In my flower book. Yeah, here we go. So I'm just going to cut. Here I have this flower book's awesome. It's got so many pictures in it. So I'm just going to cut a little strip out of that. You can also use magazines. Often people use magazines. You can use old photos as long as you have permission to cut into them. You can use newspapers or fabric. You can use fabric if you want. If you're doing that, I suggest getting some white glue and watering it down a bit and then painting the white glue on so you can kind of make a glaze for it. So you can really get creative. So we're just going to dive in here and start planning out what we're going to do. So I usually like to start with the bigger pieces at the base and then kind of layer stuff on. So what's really important, it's kind of hard to show you guys, but maybe I'll pull this over here, is to kind of plan before you glue. My mistake. Sometimes you get excited and you want to glue stuff and then it doesn't really work. So I like to just lay my things down and kind of plan out where they want to go. So for this case, I'm going to keep a bit of a pink border here so to keep everything in. But if you look at this piece that I did before, we kind of just went crazy and added stuff. You can add stuff on the outside if you want. So it's totally up to you. You can do whatever you like. I have faith in you, in your creative abilities. So I might cut these little guys out. Aren't they cute? I'm going to cut a little mushroom guy out. What's fun about collage is that you can kind of just run with stuff, with ideas. You can cut things out and then not need them. You can even start a box or a bag if you want of things as you're going through your old magazines or something. You say, okay, I'll cut this out. Maybe I'll keep it for another project. So just because you cut it out doesn't mean you have to use it at this one. You can always start collecting little bits and pieces that you like. I used to do collage all the time when I was younger. They make great birthday cards or wrapping paper, anything like that. It's just really fun to do. I'm going to put this guy here for now. So we got that. I really like this little fox guy, so I'm going to cut him out. So that's another fun thing to do. If you have people or things, you can always cut them out of the picture. And if you do it carefully, you can use both pieces. So if you take your time, you have two pieces, which might look cool together. You could do something like that, where you kind of glue them together like that. Kind of hard to tell, but you'll figure it out. Okay, I'm gonna put that there. And you see now why it's important to kind of organize before you start gluing, because you don't want to start going and then have to change your mind. I often just kind of run with it. So I've decided that my paper is too big, which often happens. So I have another piece of pink paper here. It's not as thick, but it'll do the trick. So this is just a regular size paper. There we go. That's going to be better. Okay, so I'm going to put this as a border. So I'm just going to cut that there. And again, just to remind you, there's no wrong answers when it comes to collage. You can place things how you want. You can explore how you want. So now, once you've had everything cut and trimmed, you can kind of start gluing things, or sorry, start placing things, designing how you want it to go. So I'm going to put that here. I'm just kind of putting things together. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, she's got crazy hair. And I do have crazy hair. I'm concerned that I'm turning my back on you and you're seeing the craziness. Okay, we're good. So I'm just going to start placing things how I think they're going to go. Put this here. So it's really just about kind of exploring, seeing where you want everything, moving it around before you start gluing. If you're using white glue instead of a glue gun, you really want to be careful because you don't want to put too much glue because your paper gets all bumpy. So it's really important to just kind of plan it out. There we go. Here. This. And then for this, I've decided I'm just going to cut the lady playing guitar out. So I'm going to cut that out. It should fit perfectly right there. Okay. So I have everything kind of designed how I want it to go. And before you start gluing things, I want you to remember to cut a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard and leave a little space where you can write a message. So that's the next step. That's how we're going to take collage from a craft into something where we can really reflect on ourselves. So you're going to keep an extra little piece of paper, and at the end, we're going to write a message. We're going to get to that. Just keep it on the side. Now, where did I put my tape? Okay, so I'm going to use tape. If you have a glue stick, better, but you'll figure it out. If you have some cool decorative tape, that's fun too. You could put some ribbons if you have leftover ribbons at home. Whatever you think. So you just get everything, just kind of keep it in place as you go because you don't want to have to start redesigning here. Tape is a bit easier to work with because you can easily move things. But I usually like to use a glue stick. It kind of gets everything cemented properly. Okay, so we got that. Hope you guys can see. Now, I'm gonna put my little mushroom guys, put those down. So for tape, if you're using tape, instead of putting tape on the outside, if you just make these little rings and then you stick them on the back, you can put 2 or 3, then the tape won't show. But if you have cool decorative tape or maybe some like tie-dye duct tape or something and you want it to be part of your art, that's also cool. Oh, so I'm saying because I put it on the outside, which usually I would say is cool, but for now I might turn this into, you know, something inside of a scrapbook or things. So I'm just going to pull that off carefully and place it inside the frame. But that's a personal preference. You could totally have a piece with all kinds of stuff sticking out. I've done that before. Super cool. Okay. Don't do what I did and take all your things off. I'm going to put this guy here. So to remind you, as you're making your collage, as we're gluing things together and putting things that we like, you're thinking about whether you're going to gift this, and if you are, you're going to think about the person, and you're going to put in some positive energy into this. That's the special part of creating art, is putting little bits of your heart into it. So as you're going along, in the back of your mind, you're thinking either about the person or if it's for you, think about how awesome you are. Think about how creative you are and how Every time you look at this, you're going to be reminded of how courageous you are or how creative you are. So just to show you an update of where I am so far, kind of gluing things. These guys are so cute. So I was initially going to keep the fox where I had cut him out, but I find that little lady looks good there. So I'm going to put her there. I'm going to put my handmade with love sign over here. There. And now I just have my fox left. And then maybe I'll put him here. I might put him there and then keep this space open for some marker and some positive message. So I'm going to do that. So for this, because it's a small piece, I'm going to take the tape, fold in half. Don't look at my nails. I do gardening. I'm always in the garden. Perfect. So I got a little piece right there. Folded it in half. So I'm just cruising here to make sure that I can fit it all in a time frame that we need. But I've glued everything. So now what I like to do is take a marker or coloring or even paint. If you have coloring pencils or paint or anything like that. And now you can add little personal touches and fill in some of the spaces. So to show you again the examples that I brought, I like to add, polka dots or some kind of framing. I added all this grass here. And for this one, I'd added squigglies and dots and all that stuff. And then this is the positive message we're going to put on at the end. And this one here, I kind of did some zebra print kind of stuff. So if you're really good at drawing, you could draw a picture on top and use it as a backdrop. But what I'm going to do for this one is I'm just going to fill in some of this pink space with some squigglies and some polka dots. So I don't know if you can see it like that. So I'm going to save this space for my final message. So I'm just going to make a little border for it. Okay, so I'll write my message here. So all along the line, I'm just going to do some cool little polka dots. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. If you have different colored markers, it sometimes goes better because you can do different color accents. But I could only find green, which is fine because I love green. So just to give you an update of what I'm doing, I'm just adding polka dots all the way around. All the way around on the border here. If you're using permanent markers or paint, you can also add to the images, which is what I'm doing here. So you can add on, like my polka dot kind of went onto the picture. That's okay too. Like I said earlier, there is no wrong answers. There's no, preconceived plans. You can just do what you want as you're going and explore. And then you're going to create your own style and taste and how you want to do it. So this is more of an introduction. Okay, polka dots are good. So now I'm going to put smaller dots in between each one. I like polka dots if you like doing lines or whatever you feel. Squigglies, spirals, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm just doing that kind of work just to give you an update there. See how it kind of makes a nice frame, right? It really fills in the space. For collage, I find it's very important to fill up as much space as you can. You know, and overlapping different images you've cut out or adding different textures. So if you have some dried leaves or feathers or shells or anything like that, the more texture you have, I find the more dynamic your collage can be. I love playing with textures, which is why I've got, you know, wrapping paper and then a bit of cardboard. And then we have like the flower textures and the image and the clouds. I just love the contrast. So you can really kind of explore and create your own vibe if you want. So here we are. So you noticed here I have a bit of dead space. So I'm going to fill that. I'm going to add a bit of marker here, and then I'm going to get to the positive message. So for this dead space, I'm just going to do some kind of line work. I like to keep it pretty simple, but if you are really good at drawing, I'm not good at like drawing real life things, but say you're really good at drawing flowers or, you know, different real life objects, could be a cool spot for something like that. There we go. So I just added a bit of a optical illusion thing. And then I love spirals. Spirals are my thing. So I always like to add spirals. And there's a little break in the clouds right here in my picture. So I'm going to add that there. Careful not to smudge. Added a spiral there. Might add another one down here just to keep it symmetrical. So if you're drawing on pictures of magazines with permanent markers, you really want to make sure you let it dry. Okay, so got my spirals in, got my polka dots, got that. I might fill in this little space here. So really just go at your own pace and really take time to explore different creative ideas you might have and how you could fill in the space or add different elements or overlap different images. But I'd like to just skip ahead to the final part of putting in a positive message. So somebody once asked me a couple years ago, what is something you love about yourself? And right away I realized, well, I can tell you things I don't love about myself. And in that moment, I realized that I'm way too hard on myself. And as creative people, we often take too much time to think about the things that we don't love about ourselves. And that's not good. That's not going to serve our art. That's not going to serve our self-esteem. So I want you to think about something you love about yourself, or you could also think about a reminder. So if you're hanging this in your bedroom, write something nice that you'll remind yourself of how awesome you are every day. So when you wake up, you'll be like, you know what, I can do this. So on that note, I'm going to write on my my collage. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to write be happy. Another idea is if you know somebody who needs a little pick-me-up or a little inspiration, you could give them a collage and have a little message saying, I love you, or thinking of you. And then when they see it, they'll always think about that little gift you gave them. So be happy. When I look at this collage, I feel happy. These are all things that I love. I hope that's not upside down. It looks upside down to me. So we've got be happy. And that's it. So I'm just going to show you around. You are smart enough and creative enough and amazing enough to do something like this and do something even cooler. I know you can. So I'm going to leave you guys with a reflection. So, as you're finishing up your project or you're already done, I want you to think about how visual art can be used to empower yourself, or how we can use visual art um, to find our courage. So, my question to you, it's probably backwards. How does visual arts empower you or give you courage? So I'm going to say that again. How does visual arts empower you or give you courage? That's your reflection question for today. So if you create another piece, you can add your reflection on there. And now, of course, we have a challenge for you. So your challenge is to go out and make a mural and take a photo of your mural, and then you can upload it to the OLI website along with your answer to the reflection question. You can also take a picture of your wonderful collage art and send it to us as well. We'd love to see it, and maybe, send us your positive message. But again, go out there, make a mural, take a photo of your art because it's awesome, and upload it to the website, and also your answer to the reflection question. I had a lot of fun making this. It was a great opportunity to work with you guys for the first time. And just to sign off, my name's Mimi Obonsawin. I hope that you guys are having a fantastic end of the summer, and I can't wait to see the art that you've created. So thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, Ulioni. Bye, everybody.